Greetings to all, my friends. We continue our discussion about chakras and energy. There are additional chakras in terms of a person's energy. There are many different systems, structures, and interactions of our energy field with the chakras and the external field when it comes to additional chakras. First and foremost, there is the spleen. It is well known that the spleen is one of the gateways into the human being, and that the spleen allows a person to be open and to interact in some way, and the social processes that pass through a person always enter from the left side of the third chakra. This is the spleen. Yes, it is openness, trust, the ability to move forward. There is a chakra above the crown of the head. In fact, even two, as Gurdjieff said, two jokers, they exist, and they are completely open, fully ready. You just need to pass through with your consciousness. There is a chakra below the feet. Yes, and I would say that the entire left side of the aura is a kind of reduction zone, where certain weights pass through, where certain energy informational damages occur. And over time we move in the body of the mind relative to the overall flow of reality from left to right. Accordingly, the difficulties that come to us in the temporal aspect get stuck on the left side, and as a result, they negatively affect a person's energy field. The main things that really deserve attention are the spleen, yes, and then to the left, meaning the field structure from it to the left, and, in fact, above the head, below the feet. In my opinion, there are indeed some additional chakras, some additional energy structures that need to be understood. It is important to understand their potential influence on you, on your structure, and how you can work with it. On the right side, it is less interesting, because difficulties are most often reflected when a person cannot let go of something, meaning it has already passed, but the person still holds on to it. As a result, tension begins to occur in the right leg, the right thigh, and the right arm, which causes the person to lean to the right. This happens for only one reason. When we talk about the internal structure of a person and their real psycho-emotional problems, it is most often the inability to let go of what has already passed. If these are magical attachments, then yes, they pull to the right side. Regarding the spleen, yes, it is more developed. One must indeed understand that we are generally an open book, and our idea that we can somehow complicate our structure and so on is often misguided. If we look at the general number of individuals and their possibilities for self-awareness, interaction, and so forth, it is usually an open door through which a perceptive person can enter, finding themselves inside the house, within the spiritual body of another person. The spleen is the entrance, the door that ideally should at least be recognized, and later one should be aware of whether it is open or closed. Speaking of the chakras above the crown of the head, these are supposedly powerful essences, as mentioned in the Fourth Way School by Gurdjieff. When we enter a special state of awareness, they become activated in essence. I also see that certain astral projections occur when we, for example, rewind the entire day before going to sleep, meaning we recall ourselves from the moment we lay down to the moment we woke up. We spend the whole day moving backward. This is a wonderful technique that, in my opinion, activates one of these additional chakras. At the very least, it trains memory. At most, it opens the possibility of astral travel. It's a very interesting practice, and I recommend doing it before sleep. As for the lower chakras, the only thing that is important to me is the connection to the earth itself and the feeling of having a stable and secure place, the physical body of the earth, the feeling of support, the sense of connection with the earth and its energies, receiving those necessary juices of life, getting from the earth what it gives every second to everyone. Not refuse this. This is part of the work on the first chakra and the meridians of the legs. All are ancestral, and karmic layers also exist in the legs. This is somewhat below the first chakra. Yes, it's a shift into the underground worlds. Yes, like grounding. Accordingly, if they are functioning properly, if you jump, run well. Feel the ground beneath your feet, and do not kick your legs aimlessly everywhere you can and cannot. This already indicates that you have a perfectly normal connection to the earth, and I wouldn't even look in that direction too often, because there is a danger that you might shift into a negative system, into root vegetables, which is where Qigong often leads masters and experts. Yes, those who work directly with the energies of the earth. Therefore, by opening the lower chakras, yes, those that are underground, yes, beneath a person's feet, a certain perception occurs there, and so on. But I have not opened these chakras. Therefore, I cannot really tell you much about them. I believe that an important point is to work on the chakras which are manifested in your body, those that you have within yourself. In general, it seems to me, it's best not to rush when working with your own body. Into the lower worlds, do not rush into a positive system. Yes, that is, you need to work very clearly on what you have, to realize it, to engage with it, to fill it with your attention, your consciousness, your breath. This requires several years of dedication and commitment from any person, whether a beginner or not, and so on. In any process, while talking to you, I am actually looking inside myself, examining what I have right now, and how my consciousness is distributed throughout my own body, how I feel my back, how I feel my coccyx and sacrum, and the back of my head. These are often the areas that a person neglects with their attention, and consequently, they do not receive enough energy. They become weaker, and the aura in that area becomes thinner and smaller, more susceptible to allowing external energy informational influences from either entities or other people. Consequently, this is what happens. In other words, people lose the ability to control their own bodies and manage their internal processes of redistributing energy potentials within the five-element balance across the main organs. Therefore, as additional information systems, like the chakras of understanding the five elements, the heart is indeed a very serious system that is simply essential. It works for you every second. Therefore, it makes sense to pay attention to it, to smile at it, to fill it with your breath, potentials, your smile, and your positive attitude towards it, and more. The spleen and pancreas, as I mentioned, form a very important system. They are also crucial for the intake from the outside, meaning that the food we eat, roughly speaking, is processed by the stomach, which is to say the spleen and pancreas. They specifically work on the breakdown of this food, on the entry of dense energy into the human body. The lungs are a necessary system, an additional chakra. They are essentially a huge chemical laboratory that can produce absolutely anything, any element, into our blood, into our system. Therefore, Qigong is fundamentally based on breathing, attention, and movement, to effectively carry out specific processes that are essential for the cleansing and purification of energy, as well as for the accumulation and enhancement of bioenergy potential. It is crucial to store this accumulated bioenergy in the abdomen. This involves a series of steps to ensure the energy is properly cleansed, accumulated, and stored in a way that maximizes its potential and effectiveness. By focusing on these steps, one can ensure that the bioenergy is harnessed and utilized to its fullest capacity, providing numerous benefits. Well, you can't ignore the liver and gallbladder. This indicates that you need to eat meat, and it suggests that you should be active. It's like a tree. Yes, it's a structural change in growth. Yes, it's ambitions. It's about setting goals for yourself in the social world and gradually growing towards them. Yes, like a tree you move. These concepts of elemental balance and the additional systems I mentioned are things that no one else will monitor besides you. No one will track the potential that exists within your body and in these energy systems. In general, the very concept of diagnosing these systems is clear. You can visit a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine who will check your pulse, understand what you have in excess, and what is lacking based on the pulse, make a diagnosis, and somehow be able to prescribe you pills. But no, it's not that simple, my friends. You must indeed truly comprehend that what is truly more significant is your attention within your body, your consciousness that can activate this and tap into these additional reserves of the body, engaging these structures that allow for the magical transformation of one element into another. Because each of the meridian networks that runs from one organ to another is essentially a separate dimension that helps transform the first element from one to another, basically. When this exists, when it happens within a person, additional systems allow for the revelation of other additional systems. Well, at least you don't lose what you have. It begins to move harmoniously within you, and, accordingly, the cycle of generation starts to work. It is necessary to look at the potentials to ensure no imbalance of one primary element over others in the control circle, so no displacement or pressure within the system. And if you manage all of this, if you hold it harmoniously, a buildup of overall potential occurs. When this system is filled, additional possibilities are activated. In other words, a person begins to at least not fall apart, not age, but to move towards what is called growth and development. I have been talking about this for 5 years, and in fact, those who understand what I am saying, of course, come to our retreats, participate in our programs, watch our training sessions, and achieve their results and experiences. Well, for you, the new people, yes, who may be starting to understand that I am talking about some serious things, I can simply say that the human body has a very large number of different energy structures and systems, and it may seem that it is impossible to make sense of this, but in reality, it is possible. Come to our classes, and I will show you all of this. Thank you all. Goodbye.